boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Actually, whoa, let me make sure the Twitch is showing the right thing. Last time we did this, Twitch decided I was streaming Baldur's Gate 3. But I'm not streaming Baldur's Gate 3. It still says, oh my god, it defaults back to Baldur's Gate 3 immediately. What the fuck? Okay, so it does have the right title, though. So, recording, this is just chatting. I don't know how to set this on YouTube. I can only assume YouTube also has done this. I don't know. Maybe YouTube shows the right thing. Possibly YouTube shows me as... I don't know if YouTube has a category, actually, I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty bad at streaming. Pretty bad at streaming. Streaming is not my forte. Streaming is a new thing. Hello, Paul. Hello, Kayla. Hello, Cupcake Hips. Hello, Alex is gas. Hello. I don't know how to pronounce that. Stymacy. Hello, Stymacy. Is there a way for me to embed and stream? Oh my god, there is. Copy. Twitch only. Oh my god, that is fucking amazing. That is amazing. Why the fuck didn't I know that about Restream? Okay, hang on. Keep your pants on for a second, boys. I'm gonna put you guys up on stream. I'm gonna put you guys up on the stream. Chat box! Do I have chat box already? Is chat box in here? Oh my god, it is. Hit close. Okay. Visible. Did that work? Oh! Ikilos, thank you so much for the resub. Where do I put you guys? I don't see anything in here either. Oh shit, it does work. The chat is ready to display messages. Can I... I'm guessing there's no way to actually, right, make that transparent. It doesn't look like it can. You from the Black Friday incident? Oh my god. That was forever ago, dude. I don't believe that. Mama Bear Doll, hello. Okay, let me check this real quick. So embed chat, correct. Embed chat, correct. Top messages, background opacity. Oh shit, can I just turn that all the way down? Wait, no, there's message background. Chat background. Oh, let's go. That's so nice. Can I do that? Do I have to update it? Copy. You pinning up the User pinning up the naughty chat? Pinning up the naughty chat, dude. No, that's it. Can I not refresh it? Why is it like flesh? Why did they make it flesh colored? Can I... Okay, there, refresh. The display messages. Okay. Oh my god, the chat, the actual message color is flesh? Who the fuck made that decision? Do I have like a filter on this or something? No way. Okay, where's cropping? I don't have to do that. Jesus. There we go. Who the fuck made that decision? Turns out it was me. I was the fuck who made that decision. Pork flavored chat. Christ. Remember you from FNAF song? Oh my god. What are you? How old are you? Ren, been following you. Yo, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Ren. Almost 10 years now. Holy shit, dude. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. It was me. I was the fuck. I was the fuck. Me. But God, I haven't done FNAF FNAF song in so long. It hasn't been since like Madame Macabre had done those songs. That was forever ago, dude. That was forever ago. I miss those though. Those were good times. Those are really good times. I'm gonna put you guys like right here, I guess, and I'll just put it behind all the dancing skeletons none of you can see. I have this so prepared, guys. Like, I want you to know how dumb I have this string. 'Cause this is like an amalgamation of years. Oh my fucking god, of years of years of like just streaming bullshit. So I could just randomly like, oh, skeletons. Oh no! I have so many of them all over the fucking place. This is I'm almost certain this was the gag from like 7 years ago. I don't know why I did this. It's just random skeletons I could turn on and off all over the screen. Big into creepypasta. She was fantastic, dude. She was fantastic. It's not centered. What do you mean? It's not centered? You want to put it here? There you go. That's centered. Hi. Skiff. That's centered now, right? That's not what you wanted? Is that what you like? Planning on doing another con or event spike? Not for a while. Eyeless Ren, what are you getting for Christmas? But I've hidden lore stories so much. Oh man, if they still like worked, I would have kept doing them. I'm not gonna lie to you. So the FNAF hidden lores were like so much fun to write, but I fell out of love with FNAF after the third game, or I guess after the fourth game. I kind of fell out of love with FNAF. Ignore the clinking of bottles as I get myself a lemonade. But no, I fell out of love with FNAF, so I couldn't really keep up with it. And I was not going to go through the lore. It was so much now. New story getting written in the next few days. Oh, shit, let's go. That's awesome, good one. Join the community Discord. Oh, yeah, cool. Stream Elements still posting. That goes at Cryptid Panther. Lindy, how's it going? For the original remake of Jeff the Killer. I like all of them. Jeff is one of my favorite creepypasta monsters. It's fun. Makes my brain itch. I'm sorry. MetaQuest VR. You could be around for HorrorCon next year. HorrorCon next year will be wild. I need to get more involved with it, though, for sure. When I can get my old copy of... Signed? Dude, I don't fucking know. He goes, I don't know, man. Good luck, I guess. Good luck finding me. Hunting me down for it. I'm going to be recording stuff live. I'm going to record stuff live. Let me turn on my fan so I don't die. To let you guys know how this usually goes. I'm going to record stories live. I have a couple of stories that are set up here that are going to be going over the holiday season. You guys, you all are currently watching me because I don't want to get distracted. I'll end up opening up Arc Raiders, or I'll end up playing some kind of like YouTube video that will go on forever. And what's the next long story? Skiff, brother, don't ask questions like that. I don't know. It is when it comes out is when that is. Another remake of Jeff the Killer? No. When I do more Jeff the Killer, it will be Jeff the Killer 2015. 2015. It'll be more of that. But I haven't done it yet. Nicholas, I know. Postra did a good one. I have talked to him about it. Postra is an amazing YouTuber. He's an amazing content creator. He does a lot of really good stuff. But unfortunately, no. I'm not going to do more Jeff the Killer unless, except for more 2015 when I do that. One of them, my town is terrible diarrhea. Smells, fella. I don't know about that one, but that sounds hilarious. I'll tell you right now, there's so many like joke stories I've been wanting to do, but I know that you guys don't really care for it whenever I do joke stories. I love them. I think they're hilarious. But like every time I've done like a joke story or joke pasta or something like that, the views never like are really good on it. So I know you guys don't really care for me doing jokes. I find them funny. There's a story that's on my queue right now called Cock Rock. I've been wanting to do so bad. And it's actually a horror story. But the idea of Cock Rock, and I think like they go to like an opening at the top of this mountain, of Cock Rock Mountain, and like they go to like the piss slit, and it's so fucking stupid. I love it. One of my all-time favorites, imperfections and all. I appreciate that, Blue Moon. JD, thank you. Cover the whole house filled with blood. The blood was everywhere. Oh god, wait. Let me see. That's the day of. Okay, I think I have the Day of All the Blood memorized. I've done it so many times at cons. Once there was a day. There was all this blood. The blood got everywhere. Once it got a kid and a dog. Oh, you fucking find it. I gotta find this. This is the best story I've ever recorded onto YouTube, okay? This is the story of a day where there was all this blood. A man was walking around and blood started coming out of him everywhere. There was so much blood that it filled up an elevator. He went to the store and there was just blood all over the place. People were slipping in it. They were all grossed out. He tried to go swimming and all the sharks went nuts and bitten everybody. He got chased by all the vampires ever. One time the blood got a kid and a dog. At the end of the day, everyone decided they would send him to space so that he would stop getting blood everywhere. And the scariest part is that that man was you. Or he was a lady if you're a lady. And you forgot that this ever happened. Stop, my timbers are shivered. The Rizzler of Ohio Street made me feel like a time traveler from the 50s. The Rizzler from Ohio Street was so fucking stupid. That was so stupid of a story. It was so funny, you know what I mean? Favorite story was Laughing Jack. Seth, Laughing Jack's a good one. I also enjoy Laughing Jack. I was wondering if you have a place you could reach out to about voice acting a character from mod. Based Memes Mod. Yes, mrcreepypasta@gmail.com. That's my email. You can reach out to me. I do some voice work for projects. I do just like free stuff, so yeah. You have a zombie pathogen that impacts water, so this teen who was in AP chemistry has to come up with a water filtration system to make clean water. It's a blood story if it was a little more detailed and serious. You know, Angel, I task you with this. This is the mantle I hand on to you, Angel. You must create the detailed, serious blood story. And if you've completed this task, when you have completed this task, hand it to me, and I shall record it. Listen to all your stories so many times. Supposed to memorize? Shit. You've done better than me. SCS, I don't know. I never met him. My mic fucked up, didn't it? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Pup, thank you so much for the the follow. For those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, know that there is a Twitch channel. From those watching on the Twitch channel, know that there is a YouTube. Thank you for the follow, King Nerdius. Angel must hand it off to ChatGPT. Please don't. There's some very telling details about stories whenever they come from ChatGPT. You could start to tell. When you read a lot of them, like you can be like, oh, this is an AI story. It has a lot of tells that really go with it, and I don't want to do AI stories, like at all. I did one AI story that was literally a joke about AI stories, and that was the joke, and that was for an April Fool's. I'm not gonna do those. Like, I'm not gonna do AI stories. Like, there's plenty of unpublished authors and things like that. There's something one day. It's all you, Angel. You write that. I believe in you. There's a Twitch or YouTube, and I'm just floating in the ether. Icarus, what the fuck? I didn't know there was a Twitch or a YouTube. I'm just collecting airwaves. Good win. Another person asking me about you finishing another Vegas story. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I did off a year or so ago and then didn't finish up. Need to finish them up because I'm starting to wonder how many more people are going to... Dude, get used to that. You'll still be asked about that even after I finish them. I've seen it. Exactly. It was a noun of a noun, brain rot. Yeah. The top dog for me. Well, I mean, like, look, Freedom, there was... When it comes down to doing stories, like, my whole bit was like promoting and like supporting small published or unpublished authors, right? Self-published, unpublished authors. So like it'd be really weird if I was like, yeah, let's just not have them anymore. I mean, I guess it would be I don't know. I can't think of a scenario when I would do AI stories. No, I did. So I can think of a scenario. Well, not AI stories. No, that even still that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. So I did no. Uh, JDM, I still have my medical issues. My kidneys are still. I think my kidneys function better. So the question from before, like a couple of years ago, I was in the hospital for my kidneys. They were functioning about 18%. Now they're functioning about 30%, which is better. Um, and so they still exist. Obviously, that's still there. In a couple of years, I'll probably have to have a kidney transplant. But if, they, I'm better. I'm not in the hospital, so that's good. But no, there was only one time that I had AI involved, and that's I had literally after the hospital visit, there was the threat of death. The threat of death existed, which it never existed in my life before, right? I'd never considered the fact that, like, oh, hey, I'm going to have to die at some point. So when that happened, I went to the guy who runs the live stream, Hells, and we set up this thing to learn how to talk in my voice, which turns out very difficult because I do character voices for like all the different characters and stories. So it has to learn all of my characters. It can't just learn me. So there is a Robo MCP. The Robo MCP has never been seen on the channel, and it will not be seen on the channel during my lifetime. The idea is that if and when I die, you guys would never know. That's literally it. And the contingency showed up because like when I was in the hospital at that time, there was a high chance that I could have died. So I was like, there's something I got to do. I need to make sure that like things continue on. So at some point, you'll be only listening to a ghost of me. Do you think it's kind of cool? Your boss is going. Thanks so much, man. It's Spike. With a time we're both living in, we may live to see cloned or 3D grown organs. So it may not be as serious an issue. So, Goodman, that actually is a really good point. In the past couple of years, there has actually been like a lot of advancement in kidney research. So the idea of me having a kidney transplant. So this is so outside of the realm of what we're talking about because I really need to actually record this, right? Um, the the advances in kidney research have been going like leaps and bounds to the point where how a kidney transplant can be done or the necessity of a kidney transplant might just go away. Because the way that the kidney transplant is done, I don't know how much you guys know about this. It's gross, it's weird, it's whatever. Think about where your kidneys are. For those of you that don't know, if you make a fist and like put it like right around the middle of your back, that's where your kidney is, right? You put one on either side. There you go. Those are your two kidneys. Now, your back, where your fists are at right there, that has a lot of muscle. There's like muscles there, and they're all taut muscles, and they can't cut through those taut muscles. I mean, they can, but it would cause a lot more damage than, say, going through the soft tissue of your stomach. So what they do when they replace a kidney, for which they don't even replace them, mind you, they just put in another one. They just took up a third one. That's how it works. They don't, like in video games, you like take them out. You don't do that. You actually keep them in. Because if they're functioning, let's say they function to 15%, that's if you take one out, you lost 7%, right? So you don't do that. You just put in a third one. They cut open your stomach. They take out your intestines entirely. And then they do the kidney thing. And then they stuff your guts back in you. So yeah, my sister has 3 kidneys. Yeah. You make every story feel so real and alive. Dude, thank you so much. As the best characters, Paul. I agree. I love the characters from Tales in the Gas Station. I love that also the author, Jack, lets me kind of just invent voices. He doesn't really give me too much character direction unless it's absolutely necessary. Like if there's a character, he's like, this is a very important character to show up later, then he'll give me some direction. Otherwise, he's just full on like, yeah, do whatever, man. Reverse the aging in monkeys in China, meaning that we're closer to possibly reverse human aging than most think. So maybe kidneys advance are not shocking me. Hey, that's great. That would feel weird. Yeah, it does. It does feel weird. Also that was the thing. Like, so your intestines apparently they have memory, so they know how to arrange themselves the way that they're supposed to be. So whenever they do the whole pull them out and just stuff them back in, they literally just stuff them back in, and then your body will figure it out. Like, it's crazy. Everything's working great, Nathan. That's amazing. That's so good to hear too. Because like I'm not gonna lie to you. To the past, I think like for the first 2 years, after year and a half or whatever it was, for after hearing about like we gotta need a kidney transplant, I was sweating bullets like every day. And like now I'm kind of like become more at peace with it, and I'll be like cool, cool. But yeah, I hope best of luck, best of luck. I have been married for 9 years now, and I love every second of it. My wife is the best wife in the world. I wish you guys the best. Oh, wait, are you going on Christmas? Are you going to ask on Christmas? Wait a second. I'm going to pull this up. I need to stop reading. I need to actually record. Work in self-organization. Yeah. Okay, are we gonna record? Actually, let me go ahead and test this to make sure. Bum, 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 bum. Yep, it fucked up. Let me see. One device. Bum, bum. Okay, close. No, be quiet now. You're good, Nicholas. Bum, 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 bum. Yep, there we go. Okay. A trip to Rovesford. This is what we have from Isaac. If you guys have not seen Isaac's other work on the channel, he does some wild shit, man. It's good stuff. The Horror from the Vault was also Isaac. We did a remake of that one this last October. One of my favorite stories we've ever done. And I want to see more at some point. I want to see more. What is he? I really would love to get more Horror from the Vault, but yeah. Okay, whenever I do recordings live, we're going to go over this real quick. When I do recordings live, I can still see the messages you send. That being said, I can't respond to the messages that you send unless something like big happens. That's, the thing about this. Can I change this to... Is there a night mode for this, or do I have to be blind? I have to be blind. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Also, you're going to hear me make mistakes. You're going to hear me talk to a guy named Matt. Matt is my editor. So if you hear me talking to Matt, I'm just putting in production notes. I got this story, and then I'm also going to be recording with you guys the thing that we're going to be releasing on Christmas Day? Christmas Day on Thursday, and then I'll probably take a break on Friday, and we'll have new stuff up either Saturday or Sunday. Just because I don't want my editor having to do shit over the holiday, so we'll probably have something new out for that time, and then next week we'll have like shorts, things like that. Yeah, I don't want him to do that, right? So there's that. Oh, yes. Also, as a note, before I get started, on my, for those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, if you want to follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/MrCreepyPasta, then please do. On Wednesday night, we're all watching Christmas cartoons together. So if you guys want to be able to join me for that, I'll be doing that there. I generally try to keep like personable weird stuff onto my Twitch, as well as like video game stuff on my Twitch, as opposed to putting them on YouTube. YouTube is for stories, Twitch is for everything else, I guess. So yeah, if you guys would like to be a part of that, please make sure you hop over to Twitch, give it a follow over there, so that you don't miss it. Okay. My first and only encounter with ghosts happened because I called Louise Pilkerman lousy Pilkerman right in front of the class. I hadn't meant to, not at all. A month before it happened, our teacher, Mrs. Dandridge, had told us that we were going on an end-of-the-year field trip. Already great news in my book. I loved how weird it felt to walk along in a herd of my friends, taking in the sights of a place I probably wouldn't have been able to visit normally. "And this is going to be a special trip," she continued, grinning like Perusa Balk. "This year, we're going to Rovesford Hotel, and we're going to be staying the night." And that gave me the shakes. For those of you who don't know, Rovesford is one of the premier weird landmarks in New England. Look it up. There's rarely a top 10 list that doesn't at least mention it, and the discussions about the life and death of its chief architect and original manager, Emil Rovesford, and the discussions about the life and death of its chief architect, the original manager, Emil Rovesford, are still as strong today as they were back then. To put it succinctly, Rovesford is kind of like the Winchester Mystery House on psychedelics, and it is well known for being haunted. I wasn't a fan of ghosts, but I was a fan of weird houses and architectural novelties, so I was over the moon. We had 3 weeks before we were going to go, which was 3 whole weeks in which to catastrophize and worry myself sick, with nightmares about getting hurt and missing the trip, or getting there and finding out that I wasn't as cool or interesting as I had built it up to be growing, or getting there and finding out it wasn't as cool or interesting as I had built it up to be, growing in frequency and severity. The night before, I had a nightmare and then decided to read until I felt better, which ended up being all night, so I wasn't fully awake or aware by the time I actually got into class. I think I sat in the wrong seat and nearly fell on my face before Miss Dandridge had even gotten there. When she did get in, she picked me for roll call. I think to try and make me wake up a bit more. God bless her. And I did well with the first few names, but then I got to Louise, and something in my brain, some process, stuttered, and I said, lousy. Louise Pilkerman was the scariest girl in school, at least to me. She was taller than average, tall and stocky, with big hands, bad acne, greasy hair, and chapped lips that never seemed to smile, even a little bit. Other boys said that her parents were both alcoholic redneck bikers who were always in and out of jail. They were actually both in the military and were very proud of having spotless records, and that Louise was a thug who sold dope to other kids. She was certainly free with her fists, but she never so much as got a glare from a cop, as far as I know, and later on in high school, she'd get the cops called on someone who was selling drugs. So I was terrified of her. I was small, skinny, and awkward, and she seemed to radiate this cold anger like a wall that knocked everyone back. She reminded me of movies about domestic abusers or gangsters, and I had just insulted her in front of 20 other kids. Not everyone laughed when I called her lousy, but enough did. And when you're a kid and You've been humiliated like that? It seems like everyone is laughing at you. I tried to apologize. I really did, but she wouldn't hear it. I'm gonna get you back, she growled before we got on the bus. She sat in the back. I sat as close to the front as I could and tried to read a book with the shadow of that promise hanging over my head, scared out of my mind. At least until we got there and I stepped out into the sun. At least until we got there and I stepped out into the sunlight and actually saw Rovesford up close and in the flesh. And the world narrowed down to just that. And the world narrowed down to just that for a little while. You see, Emil Rovesford was a stage musician turned architect who spent 15 years of his life planning and constructing a place that would incorporate all the different kinds of architecture that he'd seen on his trips around the world. And the result was chaos that you could touch and inhabit, like an I Spy book with buildings or a living 3D collage. From above, the whole mess looked like a giant protozoa, maybe a very lopsided star, bloated and prickly on one side, stretched like taffy on the other. Each section was a jumble. There were brick and stone, metal and glass and wood. There were domes and colonnades, bays and belfries, gables and eaves. Shionzukuri, an old Gothic, colonial, and Victorian, Shionzukuri, an old Gothic, colonial, and Victorian, and Grecan, all welded together. I could have stared forever, trying to pick out every little detail, but Miss Dandridge only gave us about a minute before most of the rest of my class ran out of attention span. We spilled into the northern lobby, which was cool and quiet and more or less what I'd imagined a swanky hotel to be like. Red carpeting, a high barrel vault roof, white pillars, clusters of couches, and a tour guide waiting to show us around. Her name was Annie, and she was great. I remember her being a carefree, laid-back college chick who took the job because she honestly thought it was interesting. The hotel's layout was so chaotic it required a bunch of laminated maps to navigate, but Annie had definitely been there for a while because she never so much as looked at any of them. She took us from room to room and laid everything out. If there was a script that she was supposed to go by, she probably chucked it right in the trash after the first few read-throughs because she added so much history and so many weird bits of trivia, stuff even I didn't know about, and I thought I'd researched it all pretty well. There were a few things I knew, like how the planning stage took 5 years because Rovesford kept going to new places, falling in love with new bits of architecture, and then deciding to add them in, or how he passed over his oldest son and gave his daughter the stewardship of the place and his fortune, which in the 19th century was a pretty big deal, caused a huge scandal. It wasn't until we got to the game room that I actually heard something that I hadn't before. There we all were, in the middle of this huge comma-shaped room with a red shag and oak paneling, trying to keep out of the way of the construction guys who are packing up the musty old mod furniture and the old arcade machines. When in the middle of telling us about how they were going to refurbish the room, Louise put her hand up and asked, "Are you guys going to open up the Blue Wing?" Behind us there were two people, a construction guy and a woman in a business suit. Both were arguing quietly. And when they heard her ask that, Louise wasn't very soft-spoken. They turned around and glared at her. She glared right back and cocked her chin defiantly. I don't think Annie noticed any of that, though. She just laughed and told us the whole wing was going to stay closed up, and that it was eventually going to be torn down from the rest of the building. She asked, "Where'd you hear about the Blue Wing?" Louise said, "On the internet. They had an article on Ogrish." Then a boy asked what the Blue Wing was, and I saw the mischief come alive in Annie's eyes. She looked around, then lowered her voice and said, "What you guys don't know? The last owner of this hotel was a murderer." That was my indication to Grace Rose. That was my introduction to Grace Rovesford. That was my introduction to Grace Rovesford, the last of that family line and the one who gave the place its reputation. Grace was born at the tail end of the 40s, raised by two parents who had died right next to her in a car crash one evening in 1953. They'd taken a back road in Nevada and swerved to avoid a coyote. Grace was pinned to the dash for 13 hours before help came. Annie said that she ended up locked in an asylum for a decade afterwards and came out worse off than she had been when she was thrown in. But I did some research, and she was actually admitted to a highly regarded naturalistic retreat on the outskirts of California, and it was only for a year. There's not much about her I could find in the years before she fully took over the inn, but I think the rest of Annie's story turned out pretty much true. She became a minor celebrity in the hippie community in the early 60s, wrote a whole bunch of papers on everything from homeopathy to astral projection, and published a book of poetry called To Dance in Dreamland, to Scorn the Reaper. In 65, she actually took charge of the hotel and added her own flair, taking what she'd loved about San Francisco and transplanting as much of it as she could. If you look at the pictures from the time, every room looks like a blacklight poster, with mod furniture, space-age appliances to top it all off. A lot of the old clientele hated it. They thought it looked like, and I quote, a sleazy head shop. But the hotel had been in a slouch by then, and there weren't many of these people left. The new look actually worked, and for 4 years it was as lively as it had ever been when it was first opened. Tourists loved the new novelty, and the hippies loved that it was a place meant for them, overseen by one of them. Grace used to come down and greet her guests at breakfast. People said that she had a smile like a slice of sunshine. She could make you feel happier just by being in her presence. At night, she and some of her old commune, who had set up shop where At night, she and some of her old commune, who had set up shop there, would sing and get high, and she'd talk about her ideas and the things that she'd seen in her dreams. 4 years of prosperity. 4 years of peace. And then it all came crashing down. Grace got sick. Very sick. She started keeping to herself more and more. Her lungs began to shut down, and so there was no more singing. Did you know that there was a ballad written about her last year's? It's called The Silence Comes to Stay, and that's what it was like, apparently. People left. The mood was gone. Grace moved from her room on the northwest spire to a wing her mother had added on. She had her friends paint the walls and ceiling blue, and then she locked herself away with only a couple of people closest to her. She hired a manager to run things, and she stayed where she was. People asked after her health, and asked after her health. Okay. People asked after her health and were told that she was, quote, engaged in a healing contemple. Things evened out for a while. Some people even said they could hear her singing some nights. And then a man named Jasper Arnott went missing. His wife said he'd gotten up in the middle of the night and hadn't come back. She looked and when she couldn't find anything, she got the staff to look with her. The search went on for hours, and then a maid found Arnott laying in the eastern garden, his bathrobe covered in blood, and his head missing. The police never found the head or the weapon that did it, but they did find Grace's prints on the bathrobe. All of her friends went peacefully, and so did she. She died of cancer in December 1969, a month before her trial. The investigations also implicated her in a dozen other missing persons cases, but nothing ever came of it. Annie didn't tell it quite like that. She shortened it, added something about gardening shears, for effect, and it worked, too. I was scared out of my mind. Not even Mrs. Dandridge announcing that we were going to have a pizza night made me feel any better. We ran around and played where we were allowed. I sat by an empty koi pond and watched the little vents bubble away. I crossed bridges, ducked through trap doors, used slides sculpted to look like dolphins, leaping from the water. I even found the narrow passage hidden behind a suit of armor, just like in the Hardy Boys. I wandered it for a bit before I realized that I had gone farther than I was supposed to. I was halfway back when I heard two people talking in hushed, angry tones, a man and a woman. "You need to find out who's doing this. I don't care how." "We don't know. Just keeps getting broken. We seal it up. Next day, it's all in pieces on the floor." In any other situation, I might have listened in, but as it stood with the anxiety rolling around inside my stomach, the idea of hearing an argument, and an adult argument at that, made me feel like a mouse in front of a hurricane. When I managed to rejoin the pack, it was time for pizza and soda, and movies in the viewing room. By the end of it, I had a gut full of junk food and a head full of worries and fuzz. We were split up into littler groups and led to our bedrooms for the night. I think I was probably asleep before I even hit the bed. I wasn't asleep for long, though, which I should have expected given the circumstances. I had a horrible nightmare about being trapped in a dark, close space, hearing teeth scraping over something hard. I woke up all at once in a bed that wasn't mine, in a dark room I didn't know. Things felt so unreal and slow and heavy, and all I could think was, I need to get out of here. I don't remember leaving the room or what hallways I went down. I only came to my senses when I slammed into someone's back. I fell on my rear, and the other person gasped, stumbled, and spun around. It was Louise. When she saw me, her eyes narrowed. Those big hands of hers closed into fists. For an instant, I saw her knuckles straining white against her skin, and I could almost feel them digging into my cheek or busting my nose. Then she took a step towards me, and I ran. I ran as fast as I could, and she followed. Neither of us noticed the change in wallpaper from cream to faded orange and purple, or the plastic sheets over everything, the white bucket stacked in one nook, the big industrial vacuums humped up against the wall, or the fresh shards of plaster on the floor. All I could register was an open door, and the hallway was wide and dark like a throat. Every door was shut, and dust puffed under my sneakers with every step I took. I made it to the end of the hall, to one last door, before Louise grabbed the back of my shirt and threw me into the wall. Then she was in my face. Her eyes gleamed in the low light. "You made him laugh at me, you little freak," she hissed. Her breath was cold and smelled like cola. I tried to explain myself, but she shoved me back into the wall and hit me hard enough to make my teeth click together. It tasted blood. My guts churned, and I prepared for more, but Louise had backed off. She looked at me, at the blood, with wide eyes like she'd never seen it before. Then she looked at her hand. She told me later that That had been the first time she'd hurt someone bad enough to make them bleed, and that it made something click in her mind. It became real to her, she said. There was silence between us. I still cowered. Louise still looked at me like I was about to keel over and die right there, but there was stillness. I could breathe. She could think properly. And that's when we noticed the music. I say noticed and not heard because it sounded like it had been playing ever since before we'd even gone down the hallway, but I don't know why. It sounded like music from a long time ago, fluty and rambling and soft. It made me think of people with wooden flutes, letting their music wind down under doorways and through grassy meadows. It's music of dark forests, standing stones, deserts that never ended, and obscure islands with ancient palaces, temples made of marble. It was so weird that we had to turn around, and when we did, we saw that the door was gone. Vanished like it had never been installed in the first place. Beyond it was a big room with a low ceiling. There were couches and bare mattresses and rugs on the floor and an old censer hanging from an IV stand. There was light coming from it, cold, pale, and blue. There was someone in there. We could hear them stepping and hopping softly but ceaselessly, giggling under their breath. We couldn't see anyone. Neither of us made a sound. We didn't know what we were seeing, not really, but we both knew that we were seeing something that we weren't supposed to see. I took a step back. Louise did too. Something was wrong with the light. It made the patterns in the rugs gape like black holes, and if you looked at it too long, you felt like it wasn't actually light at all. Then something creaked to our right. We turned and saw that another door had vanished. It was dark outside, but the light showed us enough. There was someone in the room, someone who was coming out. I saw the hands first, flung out in front of it, groping blindly with fat, black fingers, then arms that jerked and twitched, and then the rest. A man was leaving his room, a man in stained boxers and skin the color of standing water, dripping, swollen with bite marks all over. He didn't have a head. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My reality was drawing into a single point. Things were too clear, too real. I was watching a headless, rotting corpse feel its way towards me, hands grasping at air, the torn flesh of its neck jutting as silent as the light we were standing in. And then Louise screamed. Okay, everything. And then Louise screamed, and we were running. I heard its feet then, taking quick, stumbling steps. He knew where we were now. My heart was pounding so loud, I almost didn't notice how the music had turned sour. The hallway stretched on and on. There was no more dust or cobwebs. The doors were vanishing two by two, and the light revealing the deep, cold blues of the walls and ceiling had been painted in blue like Saturn or somewhere far off. Louise reached the exit first and slammed into it. It was locked. It wasn't locked. She tumbled out into the red carpet and plaster chunks. I don't know why I did it, but just before my body passed through, I looked back. And if Louise hadn't caught me by the hand and dragged me behind her, I don't really know how to articulate it, but I think she saved my life. We ran until we saw lights on under doors, normal ones. One of Louise's friends heard us and opened the door, and when she saw us in good light, she called for grown-ups. The last thing I really remember for a while was hearing Louise asking if I was okay. I really wasn't. Apparently, Louise told the adults what we'd seen. I was in no state to say anything, so I couldn't corroborate her story, but it still got people talking. I saw the news story later once I was better. The police had come. This time they'd found something. They'd found 15 heads wrapped in duct tape set behind the walls of the Blue Wing. There were some arrests. I think it was a little too late. Louise asked what I'd seen when I looked back. Once the day after, once years later at a party where she was too drunk to stop herself from asking, and I was too drunk to lie. I told her, and now I'll tell you. The room had snuck up behind us while our backs were turned, like a tiger. It shortened the whole length of the hall until it was 2 feet from the exit. And I saw everything. They were dancing in a circle, some in pajamas, some in bathrobes, some in less. All dead, all headless. Split heels beat the floor, maggots fell from them and disappeared into the patterns on the rugs. They lurched and pirouetted. They spun while the music played. It had really spoiled by then. It sounded bad, worse than I can really explain, just old and greedy. It pressed into my ears like soft fingers. It tugged at my skin. And the crowd parted a little, and I saw someone at the center of the circle playing a flute. Grace? Probably. I can't even describe what she'd swelled up and stretched out into. They've torn the Blue Wing down. The rest of the hotel is fine. It's still running. Sometimes I browse the internet. I look for new sightings, but there hasn't been anything. All's quiet there, which is good. Louise wrote a book called Scratchings and Mutterings, The Haunted Hotels of New England. If you're reading this, I hope you're doing well, and I'm sorry I called you lousy. It really was an accident. That's pretty good. That's a good old ghost story. That's a good old ghost story. Actually, I just need this. Continuation of the Accounts of the Lonely Broadcast Station, Book 2. What do you mean? What do you mean? There's nothing else to continue. What do you mean? I mean, is a book 2 coming? Yes. Are you asking, am I narrating it? I can't. That's as a book. But there will be an audiobook. I think we did announce that. If we didn't, I'm going to be in big trouble for saying that. Don't worry, Stray Cat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have a thing coming. I think. I think. Red only found his narration of the gas station, got the kick out of the horror stories again. Dude, everybody comes back for gas station. Gas station's so good. Cool, thanks. Treat drink. Treat drink. What are you drinking, Lindy? Adds a coffee, the ending of that story. Yeah, you'll have to come see it on YouTube when it comes out. Shit is coming out there. Getting more City of Midnight. Don't Car. I think Dale Drake is continuing City of Midnight on his own. On his YouTube channel. Library. Let me find out real quick. He has his YouTube. Please. Okay. I think he is doing City on his. Dark Library Stories. Dark Library Stories. So yeah, I think he's doing it on his City of Midnight. If not, I mean, like if he's selling me more of those, then I'll do more City of Midnight. But I don't know if he has them ready right now. I know we are working on more Masterson because we are getting some more of the Cowboy, like prequel stuff for the Cowboy, which is pretty cool. Oh, the Cowboy. We do not have any more Christmas ones coming out. So I'm going to do one Christmas recording right now, which is going to be out for Christmas Day. No, Christmas Day? Christmas Eve. He's out for Christmas Eve. But I don't have City of Midnight's not finished. No. I do not have more from Vincent Venicava for the channel. I will have Vincent Venicava audiobooks ready to go soon for his book series, Midnight Monster Madness. So those will be here, but it won't be on my channel, I don't think. I know I have one more story from him, but I don't. That needs to be like fully cast, so that takes a lot of work for me to do, and I have to get other voice actors, other YouTubers. So, featured my abandoned ships were in his channel recently, and you did a good job on it. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. So here's something I've wanted to do for years, and I haven't done it in. I've never done it. I've always wanted to do this, right? I think like I could do it now because I don't care what anyone says. I could do whatever the fuck I want. It's my YouTube. um, so I'll do this because this is a Christmas thing and I like Christmas. For those of you guys that don't know, you guys ever seen this little? It's an indie movie. I don't think many of you guys have seen it. It's pretty small. It had a small audience when it launched. I don't think they did anything with it afterward. It's called The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's about this skeleton. He like gets so tired of doing Halloween that he's like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna get into Christmas now," and it becomes like his autistic fixation. So the like in The Nightmare Before Christmas, um, Halloween is my job, right? Yeah, I haven't been able to watch Nightmare Before Christmas in so long because it's I've seen it so many times. Yes, cult classic film. If you haven't seen it yet, man, it's hard to find. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. You could probably find a VHS of it. Um, but I've seen it so many times. But like, I really embody that feeling of Jack Skellington. I have like in my office too. I have All Hail the Pumpkin King, and a couple of other like Halloween. I mean, obviously, my office is all fucked up, right? Like, it's all covered in creepypasta shit and horror stuff, and I have like a theater room in my house that's like the crown jewel of my fucking existence with all of the movie props from and autographs I gotten for people that I have worked with or interacted with or blah blah blah. Blah. That being said, like I really embody that because like Halloween is my job. Making horror is my job. When Halloween comes by, I don't half-ass my Halloween. Can I say that? I don't half-ass my Halloween. Yeah, they did make a book series of it. That's really rare to find. That is that is a rare one. So they're like this year in Halloween, My wife very much wanted to win the Halloween decoration contest in our neighborhood because she's like, we can. And I have this power trip in my brain where I'm like, I know we can. I know we could win this Halloween decoration contest. What I enjoy though is I don't decorate very much of the house for all of October. There's like a few pumpkins out. We have a little things on Halloween in the morning. I get up at like 6, 7 o'clock. I get all of our animatronics. I get all of our stuff out. I get all the shit, and I do up the full house for Halloween the day of Halloween. When and the main reason why when kids come out to go trick or treating, or when kids come out to see this, our house has not been Halloweened up. But all of a sudden, whatever theme we're running with for that year is it comes to fruition on Halloween the night. So all of a sudden, it just seems like it appeared there. That's the feeling I try to create. Does it affect anybody else but me and the trick or treaters? No, but I enjoy it. Also, the first year we lived here, there was a lady who did win the decorating contest and came over to me and thanked me for letting her win. And I was like, "Oh no, you won that on your own." But the little evil voice inside my brain was like, "That's right, that's right." No, but like I wanted to, you wanted to give kids nightmares. I so yeah, I was about to be like, no, I like making a good experience, which is true. I do like making a good experience for like trick or treaters, but I have gone through multiple times with my life where I'm like, I think like let's try doing like a Saw theme, or let's try doing something that's pretty dark, and she's like, the trick or treaters here are like 6. I don't think Saw is a good idea this year. So I mean, we've done like a fun house for a few years. We've done like a Ghostbusters house, a spider house. Yeah, of course we do like a haunted house also for our neighborhood. But those are those things. My wife really wanted to win, so she won this year. She was excited about it. But yeah, these are like the big things I do. I don't half-ass my Halloween, but let me tell you, by the end of the 31st, my body, my mind, my love of horror is so stunted. I'm so tired. And the end of the year, when it comes down to November, which is my wedding anniversary, and then December for Christmas, I really get to relax. I get to enjoy this time. So Christmas is like probably like I enjoy Christmas more than I enjoy Halloween. Not to say that I don't love Halloween for what it is and like I go all out for Halloween. It's still my job, it's still what I do, but like this is just this is where I get enjoyment from. This is my holiday because I get to actually enjoy my holiday. I embody that with like Jack Skellington, you know. Jack's like, I've been doing this all eternity. I make this holiday happen. Fuck. I made that joke after Halloween. I just need a full night to climb into a graveyard, sing about depression, and walk nonstop until morning into the woods. But I've been wanting to do this one. I think I've done like multiple horror renditions of this, but I haven't done anything that was like truly not horror on the channel in a hot minute. And also, I think this is kind of like challenge my editor a little bit with some of the visuals we can do. We'll see. This is a classic, and I'm just gonna go ahead and turn this off because I think you guys will understand what it is when I get started. All right, I'm gonna shut these crickets up. All right, assholes. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while the visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma, in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all! As dry leaves that before the wind hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in furs from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry! His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump and a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, laying a finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." That's enough to be a YouTube short, baby. Do you guys want the Grinch? I can do the Grinch. Can't post it to the channel though. I I did so for those of you guys who want to know, I did the Grinch for I did the Grinch for my Patreon. You guys patreon.com/Mr. Creepypasta. I forgot about what the fuck. Patreon.com/Mr. Creepypasta. Yeah, I've done the Grinch on there, which I think was just part of the blog, so you could just go there and look at it if you want to. I don't think it was like I can't do this with like a pay thing on it, right? So like here, you guys doing it here, I don't have online. I can't put ads on this. It's just, you know. Can I read this here? Yeah, I'll read it here. Tell you what, this will be my last thing before we end the stream for this. It's been over an hour. I gotta do my work. The one. The Grinch. How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Dedicated to Teddy Owens. every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask me why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on quite right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. And he growled, with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early, they'd rush for their toys, and then, oh, the noise! Oh, the noise, 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 noise! That's one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They'd feast on Who pudding, and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. And they'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this whole Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 43 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and chucked. What a great Grinchy trick! With his coat and his hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn to the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, Giddy up! And the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. Hey, Anya, you just popped in to hear halfway through the Grinch. Old man? Who you calling old man? Everyone, this is Anya Asheron, my niece. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square. This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue. were the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first ones to go. I do this. What if I did that? Let me, give me a minute, give me a minute, give me a minute, give me a minute, give me a minute. Crop, can I crop? Open that up. There we are. uh, these stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk, with a smile most unpleasant, around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch, very nimbly, stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I'll stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound, like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was no more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Sandy Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie. He thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, you see. I'll fix it up there, and I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. And the last thing he took was the log for their fire. And he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1:15 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimming, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Hoo-hoo to the Who's, he was grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound, rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes, then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing, without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours, till his puzzler was sore. And the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then, well, in Whoville, they say, that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. He brought back the toys, and he brought back the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of it. Thanks, guys, for coming here, hanging out with me during stream. I hope you guys have a great holiday. If you guys aren't following on Twitch, twitch.tv/MrCreepyPasta, I really hope that you are, because we're going to be watching Christmas cartoons on Wednesday night. So come give a join, come give watch, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the content, and you guys have a great holiday. I love you all. Goodbye, friends.